So it's been some time that I actually learned pretty much every day when Rabbi Mimran was available. This is him. This is Rabbi Mimran. There's that holy face. All of these lights, all of these words coming from inside. This man who's a teacher, he has what to say. So I'm going to go on from where we were. The last time I went past this was, or I came to this point was, let me see where I'm at. Here we go. And listen, incidentally, buy this book. This book is not a one-time read. This book is something that you could read every night. You could read it every day. Just little bits of it, because he makes it really short, except for this particular paragraph, chapter. He makes it short. So let's see how this works. And he gives us ideas that we can work on. And it's not easy, because it requires, like everything else in Kabbalah, it requires repetition, going back into it again and again and again. But if you do that, you will see its value, because there's plenty of strife in this world. To be able to understand your position and the position of God is the position the Kabbalists are holding, that everything is God. That every manifestation of all the different picadillos that you have in your life, the different strifes that you have, because many hold that this world is mostly bad, 80% bad things, confusion, and cruelty. But by the same token, we have a difficulty understanding what they're doing, what's going on in the world, and these are techniques to broaden our minds. So the specific combination of letters forms a specific molecular structure of things. Inside of all reality are the formation of letters. It is with this that you make contact. Through the letters, it's possible to be able to make contact. So what does this mean? He says it means that you are in touch with the underlying force that creates the fabric of everything in our space-time universe. So it occurs to me that the common knowledge is that we are on top, and like in our hands, we mold whatever is going to be in life, and all the people around us do that, and the political parties, all things like that. So he's saying, but that's really a dead end, because none of us stay. None of the ideas, none of the patterns that have to do with our bodies and how we're going to work, they're not going to exist forever. So therefore, what does exist forever? And he says that there's an underlying force here. This is what we need to perceive. And we can get it through the letters that creates the fabric of everything in our space-time universe. Now, you might want to get a book on simple Hebrew. And there are a lot of them, beginner Hebrew books, if you don't know Hebrew. And look at the letters. There's a tremendous amount to be gained from that. Now, I could show you different things where you see how the letter combinations go, but that's somewhere else. Let's go over here to through the letters of the holy names. You can, in essence, reprogram the molecular structure of any form of matter. Now, this is deep stuff. You have to be able to get really into the inside of these letters. There is an inside to the letters, and an inside to those letters, and an inside into the other letters. Indeed, this is the secret to how some of our sages created small calves on Erev Shabbos, using the Sefer Yesira to have meat for their meals. As well as then you have Rabbi Zulai, the great-grandfather of a famous rabbi called the Chidah, writes how he was successful in creating a golem, an artificial human with artificial intelligence. By the same manner, therefore, manipulating the letters of the Holy Torah, you could possibly do that. I do not know how. And that's not really what Rabbi Mimran is teaching us. He means to say that there's an inside to those letters, and that you could reach. This is how this famous saying came out, abracadabra. Now, that's how we pronounce it. But in Hebrew, it would be abracadabra. I create, abra, I will create, kadabra, as I will speak. As speaking and creation go together came about. In light of this mysticism, so remember that if you hadn't heard it before, it's a real It's a really interesting idea. Just parenthetically, just want to say an aside, in Europe, Jews didn't have a place. Europe during the Middle Ages, and we have a series on the survival of the Jews through the Middle Ages. Jews a lot of times were, the old court jester, the people in the circus. People made plays and different things to entertain wealthy people. Well, those a lot of times were Jews, because Jews had no other place. You couldn't, in other words, we are middlemen, we are businessmen. But that was a system where there were no businessmen. So we lent money. We did what we could in banking and whatever you call it in order to be able to survive. But one of the other things that we did was we got involved in entertainment. So there you see the word abracadabra. That's what the man would say. He would say before he did his trick or whatever he did, he would say, abracadabra, open up like I'm speaking. So in other words, listen to my words. In light of this mysticism, we now understand very well why the words we speak have tremendous power. And according to that, this is why Judaism has such a strong bias against gossip. According to the Sefer Yetzirah, the power of the human mind, when focused properly through specific combinations of letters to the Torah, can actually manifest the ability to influence and sometimes change physical reality in time and space. The underlying spiritual technology of this mind power, the ability to focus, comes from the Torah, is the source of the miracles also found in the Tanakh and the books of the Torah, the Talmud, and other later Torah literature. He says certain combinations of letters reveal certain potential powers, others reveal different powers. Each depends on what can be discovered latent within them. So he's saying that you look at a letter, let's take a Hebrew letter, we're talking about Hebrew letters, and they're mostly composed of lines. And it can be broken down. But he's saying that inside of the letters themselves are mostly composed of letters. There's some sort of semicircles or different kinds of combinations, but mostly really lines. And they can be discovered. There's something inside of them. There's something, I speak a lot of times of a thought that I learned as I was studying psychology of what's called the Gestalt. Do you realize in the page that you're viewing right now is really black letters on top of a white background? Without the white background, there's no letters. But without the letters, well, then it's an interface. The letters are between us and this whiteness. The whiteness has no form. It has, what we mean by white is it's colorless. It has no blemishes in it. So he says each depends upon what can be discovered latent within them, each letter. When we look at a combination of letters such as capital letters, which are called capital letters, which are the beginning letters of a word, are called Rosh Tevos. Of its verse are end letters like Sofi Tevos. And this happens a lot in Kabbalah. I look at these things, I try to understand them, but I really don't know their power. But he's telling us this is a technique. We find specific combinations of letters. So you know that we take a verse from the Torah, and you look, let's say, 5 words in that verse. And you look and you see that there are actually 5 beginning letters. Those 5 beginning letters are a formation of an entryway into a higher level. Now, okay, that's all I can say about it because it's still beyond me a lot. That we can examine and learn secret innate powers from. Now, people who know how to do this are it's not something that you get like, put a dime in the slot and here it comes. It's not like that. It's something that these men work on all the time. They're always trying to connect to God in all the circumstances of their lives because they realize that He is inside of all of them. That's the same idea as He, so to speak, is inside the letter combinations. And these letter combinations are called shemos, or names, shema de kadoshim, holy names. They are contemplated in a meditative fashion. Now that can be done. We could do that. You don't have to be a great Kabbalist or an expert in the Ari to be able to take a Hebrew letter, a Hebrew words, even if you don't know what they mean, and look at the letters. because behind the letters is a connection to that ultimate, what he calls it whiteness, because whiteness means that it has no punishment in it. It's completely Rahmanis and Chesed. So he says, unlock channels in both the mind and the organic brain that empower one to embody the meaning and intent of that specific name. That's possible. Now we're going to stop here. Try to keep this shiur down as much as I can. Some of these shiurim are going to be shorter, and so we're going to go on with this same idea, and we'll make another shiur out of it. This is Baruch Fleischman, listening to the words of the holy Rabbi Yosef Chaim Mimran.